The plan was for the expedition to begin in June or July. At the moment, Doyle was making financial arrangements, while Abigail studied what was known about the pyramid they would be exploring. Both Daniel and Abigail had agreed that any thought of their wedding or moving house should be on hold until the expedition had been completed and Abigail returned to England. Both of them viewed the expedition with mixed feelings. It would be the climax to an already brilliant career for Abigail. Only one woman before, Lady Hester Stanhope, had led such an expedition and lent her name to it. But both of them were aware that Abigail would be in Egypt for a long time, and they would be separated. Daniel had determined to go and visit the dig while it was going on, but it wouldn't make up for the fact that for the past 3 years they'd spent barely a day apart. Daniel looked fondly at Abigail as she sat at the kitchen table, studying maps and texts she'd been allowed to borrow from the British Museum, then returned to reading the morning's newspaper. He read the reports of the latest political arguments that were raging around the Prime Minister, Lord Salisbury, as once more efforts were made by the Home Rule faction to press the government to give independence to Ireland. It was an argument that had been going on for as long as Daniel could remember, with strong emotions on both sides of the debate. He turned the page, and as his eye fell on a story on the second page, his mouth dropped open. "My God!" he said, shocked. "What?" asked Abigail. "Walter Sickert's been arrested." "The artist?" "Yes. They say he's being questioned over the murder of a prostitute whose body was found at the entrance to the National Gallery first thing yesterday morning. According to this, she'd been eviscerated." Abigail stared at him, bewildered. "Walter Sickert?" she repeated. "It's like déjà vu," said Daniel. "We had him in for questioning during the Ripper investigation, Fred Aberline and myself." Abigail came and took the newspaper from him and scanned the page. "This is unbelievable," she said. "That there's been another murder in the same manner as the original Jack the Ripper killings, or that Sickert's been arrested on suspicion?" he asked. "Both," she replied. "I see that Chief Superintendent Armstrong is in charge of the case." "Chief Superintendent? Another promotion. That man knows how to climb a greasy pole," commented Daniel. There was a knock at their front door, and Abigail handed the newspaper back to Daniel and hurried to open it. When she returned, she was holding a small brown envelope. "It's addressed to you," she said. Daniel opened the envelope and took out the single sheet of paper. "Well, well," he said. "This is very timely. It's from Stanford Beckett, the curator at the National Gallery. He wants our help." "No, he wants your help," Abigail corrected him. "It's addressed to you." "But Beckett's note asks for both of us," said Daniel. He held out Beckett's letter to her. "In that case, why wasn't my name on the envelope?" she asked, obviously annoyed. "I suspect it's to do with the fact that I've met Sickert before, during the Ripper investigations." He stood up. "Shall we go?" Chapter 2. Stanford Beckett, curator of the National Gallery, was the epitome of the Victorian gentleman. A man in his 60s with a high starched white collar to his shirt, a neat but colourful tie, bushy side whiskers, and an elegant pinstripe suit in charcoal grey, the image slightly marred by the amount of cigar ash on the front of his jacket. He put his half-smoked cigar into the ashtray on his desk, where it smouldered, as he gave a heavy sigh and looked at Daniel and Abigail with mournful eyes. "Tragic," he said. "Absolutely tragic." "Could you tell us what happened?" asked Daniel. "All we know is what we read in the newspaper, that a prostitute was found murdered and mutilated at the entrance to the National Gallery yesterday morning, and that Walter Sickert has been taken in for questioning on suspicion of her murder, and is currently being held at Scotland."